Hi, my name is Sam Price, Crypto Lifer. Do you want to see the macro technical analysis for what's happening to Bitcoin on the bigger time frames? Do you want to zoom out on the S&P, gold, silver, the NASDAQ, the dollar index, and get a world picture of what's happening with these charts? Let's have a blast. Let's do that. My name is Sam Price, the Crypto Lifer. Let's break down what's happening in these charts and see where we're going and where we've been. Okay, so breaking down BTC on the weekly, we still have hidden bullish divergence. We still have a Fibonacci retracement back to a 618 and a bounce. Does that mean we can't rip down to the 786? It's possible. This is what we're looking at right now, though. Still bullish, but, I'm not in love with how much, top wick we have back to the downside. It would be much rather to have a nice solid candle. We still got 2 days. It would be beautiful if this candle can at least close bullish engulfing and basically get above this bearish chunk here. I have faith, but you never know. Right now, Bitcoin is struggling, going back and forth after Jerome Powell spoke. Kind of a lackluster meeting there. So here we are, Friday afternoon for BTC. And where were we last week? Last week we were watching the daily time frame to see if we could get this bounce, right, off this key level back to the upside. This week we were coming down, and I was like, maybe we can get a Fibonacci. Maybe there's a chance. We eventually started bouncing on Monday, right? But last week on Friday, we were just back up, just getting above the 200 MA. We were seeing if we could hold it. Things were actually pretty bullish when I did the update. But I said, the bear scenario is that we were in a bear flag and we could dump. Now, we could have dumped way worse. The bullish scenario is this was a bear flag that was supposed to dump so bad. And right now, you have to say, we seem to be holding a strong support with the bulls here at about 82,400. So right off the bat, that is bullish, but we're also bearish that we got above the 200 MA and could not continue. So we're in the doldrums here for Bitcoin. Too many long-term accumulation people that were waiting on the sidelines, but a lot of fear too that's not giving it the liquidity we need to get it to pump further to the upside. I take advantage of the fear. The fear and greed index was all the way at 10, just not too long ago. Today it's at, yesterday was at 25. Today's at 28. These are great prices, in my humble opinion, to be at least DCAing. You do whatever makes you happy. I'm not a financial advisor, but it's time to take advantage of the fear. So the daily doesn't look amazing. Let's take a look at, the daily idea here. So the one saving grace is you could say we're in this broadening falling wedge, and we did break out, and we're attempting to basically bounce off this trend line and now do some type of double bottom. Not to get too close, but we're watching if this could be somewhat of a double bottom here on the 4-hour time frame. Or if we're going to basically make a descending triangle and just collapse. The next 8 hours are crucial. If basically in the next 8 to 16 hours, we get back above the 4-hour 200 MA, we could convert this high and continue up. If we stumble below it and just continue to, go more sideways, it's more likely we roll over to the downside. So it doesn't look amazing, I'll tell you that right now. And there's not a lot of bullish sentiment on the smaller time frames. We definitely have to get back above 84,000, 85K really to even start to play ball. The daily is showing signs of possible double bottom 2 here, and we're hanging out. But I look at the daily, and that starts to look like a descending triangle. So not saying it's guaranteed, but the daily's starting to lean a little bit like we're going to roll over and dump to the downside. So I would watch price action. It doesn't look amazing. We really need the bulls to confirm moves above key levels. The saving grace too, you could say, is, we're retesting the top. And is this a shoulder ahead and a possible right shoulder on the 3-day that we've been talking about? But just massive wicks usually don't tell that story. So that's kind of contrarian to that idea. So it looks like next week when we're here, 2-3 days maybe of some sideways price action. Monday, it looks like Sunday night, we're going to find out what Bitcoin wants to do. And the odds are, we'd have to break out and retest and come up. So next week, we've either retested and made this move here, or we're likely somewhere down here after a massive dump. It looks more likely the shoulder head, kind of right shoulder, is going to dump on us to the downside. So right now, unless Bitcoin gets back above 85,088, you got to suggest that we're going lower for BTC. Low, high, still a higher low, though. So, we're in the middle. I give it 60-40 to the bears. There's still some good chances we could get a bounce, but we got to get above this. See these 2 wicks here? We got to get above 85,080. We do that and retest it, there's a chance we can begin to build. So right there like this, you want to see something like that. If you just continue more sideways in the next 8 to 16 hours, it's more likely we're dumping somewhere down to $6,000 BTC. S&P future was in a bear flag. We talked about it. We had to get back above the 200 MA on the daily. We did not. We slumped. Today is 4-4. The last time we were live must have been about, the 28th right here. We were dumping. There was a chance we could have pulled the Fibonacci and bounced off of a 618 right there, right? And, we got to the 786 and we did a pretty nice bounce. But once the tariffs came out and the whole week said it's coming, and then on Tuesday, boom, and the markets really just took a beat down on the tariff news. It's really uncertainty and FUD. There could be a bounce, but you got to look at charts for what they are. We've lost the daily 200 MA drastically, all right? And now, usually you'll go to the 2-day 200 MA. If you lose the 2-day 200 MA, you're going to go to the 3-day 200 MA. So there's a chance you have some previous support as resistance here. There's a chance you could V-shape recovery pretty fast. That's a fast candle. Usually it could come back. Wouldn't be surprised if it's just like, it's all reactionary. But if we lose this level, you're dropping down to the 200 MA there on the 3-day chart. So I would watch for either some type of recovery on the smaller time frame, and you'll see me go over that type of stuff, or most likely you are going to test this 3-day 200 MA. NASDAQ would give you basically the same exact story, the same picture. And where was I getting these levels that we just hit? I was just taking the measured move, and it was telling me that's where we're going. And so we went right there. So you could have seen what was going to happen. Rising wedges break down, right? I had this shoulder, head right shoulder, but you got to stay back above key levels. It was that daily 200 MA. Again, I live and die by the 200 MA. I trade it all the time. I shouldn't say I live, I don't die, but I trade hard on it. And you can see we were above this. We couldn't close a candle above the 200 MA, not a second one. And the rejection there created the dump further to the downside there for the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ and the S&P both in free fall. Bitcoin basically doing way better than both with a higher low, because it's more of an inflation hedge. The stock market is not an inflation hedge. Bitcoin is definitely more of an inflation hedge than the stock market. And you'll start to see this more as people don't know, they don't want to hedge into the dollar anymore. And so where are they going to go? Again, when you lose the daily 200 MA, you go to the 2-day. When you lose the 2-day, you go to the 3-day. And so the next level, again, like I'm saying, is that 3-day. You lose that, you'll go to the 4-day. So you have to start considering 15,900 for the NASDAQ. All right. Let's take a look at the DXY and see what's happening to the dollar index. And we put this in a bear flag, suggesting this was going to dump. It got rejected by the 200 MA. Same story. It's attempting a bounce now, and you would look for some type of bounce. But right now, that's big time bearish, right? And you even lost the 3-day 200 MA on the dollar index. So if we take a big look at what's happening here on the DXY, we are approaching a lower key level that we have bounced from before. And so there could be a nice little bounce for the DXY. Maybe even back to the top of the pattern, something like this. You would expect it. The last time we hit a key level like this, we did get a nice bounce. Now, Bitcoin could pump with it. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but, we didn't get like the Bitcoin pump when the DXY dumped. So as you can see, they're both not really, they've been kind of correlated and then uncorrelated and then correlated again. Because Bitcoin somewhat, looked as pro-Trump and so is the DXY. They kind of float together sometimes when he has when there's a pro-Trump agenda. Interesting enough, that if that 3-day candle closed, that could be a nice bottom. Let's take a look at the stochastics. Yeah, they're pretty oversold, bending, but pretty oversold. You lose this level, then you're going to see more dump for the DXY. So just watch that. Keep this kind of looking. Basically, you get below 100.618. Funny, 100.618. You love that. But it's likely you could go lower. There's a key level right there at 97. The 100 level seems to hold pretty nicely, and we have a higher low there. I wouldn't be surprised if the dollar index makes a move back somewhere here, or at least it looks like it'll test the 200 MA on the 3-day chart right there. Gold, baby, gold. How could you not like gold, baby? And we call this flag, and eventually it's going to get a sell-off. I mean, how much further can you pump? And, with the dollar finally coming back up, you've got some major bearish divvy here too as well on gold. And now maybe Bitcoin's turn. Like you made your money on gold, now you'll sell off and buy more Bitcoin. See, people are going to start using assets to balance each other. That's what I learned. The big boys see the bigger picture more than everyone else. I used to watch them cycle, but only figured out their cycle like, a year later. Now I can see the cycle, see what they do. They use gold to buy Bitcoin. They use Bitcoin to buy back into gold contracts. They'll flip, they'll flop. and they'll continue to make money no matter where, no matter where it is. You got two ideas for gold. It's like you're going to come back, but come back for how long? I mean, you got the dollar getting beat up. Even if they get, balanced out, I don't see the gold just losing massive value. I see gold balancing out and eventually crushing it back to $3,700 an ounce. It may take some time on the 3-day chart. This says it could take till October, but it makes sense. So I'd watch some type of pullback for gold. The lowest level I look at was 27.7. It could even just kind of never go lower than this key level here at $2,900, $2,970 even. So gold looks interesting. I just say it has a pullback and sideways price action for the next, I'd say, a couple months after that massive rally into gold. Something like it did here, right? From November, December, and January, it did a 3-month consolidation before its next big leg up. This is what I see happening for gold. Take a look at Bitcoin dominance, and it looks like it's going to continue to rally. Altcoins are hurting. People do not want to be in altcoins. And when the market dumps, people, Bitcoin dominance pumps for two reasons. When the market dumps hard, people jump out of altcoins into Bitcoin to save. All right. They jump into Tether too, but they jump into Bitcoin and Tether, and that makes Bitcoin dominance go up. It also goes up when Bitcoin is in amazing beast mode and just keeps pumping and people want in, and they sell altcoins, whatever they can, to get into the Bitcoin rally, right? So Bitcoin dominance pumps for two reasons. Right now it's pumping. Now we have to take a look at Tether dominance to give us the whole other side of the story, the other side of that apple, right? And we're going to look at it in that same time frame, that 3-day time frame. It's important you zoom out when you do this. So this looks like Tether dominance is bouncing up, but having some trouble. It could easily get rejected here and bounce. So if in the next day or two we get a strong 3-day, in the next 3 days we get a strong 3-day candle close above here, that's going to tell us the market's not looking good and we're in for that bigger dump down. If we get a rejection here and start to turn, which looks like we may, it tells us that the altcoins and Bitcoin may have bottomed and we could get ourselves, this would be a beautiful rally because it would mean the dollar and people are just dumping Tether in mass and we're going to get a pump. We get above here and start to move, no good. And it's close. Like right now, it is hanging above that 200 MA. And right now, you're above the 200 MA on the daily. You do kind of have this head and shoulder pattern. And there is a resistance in a double top here. Some bearish div as well. Yeah, even there, swing down while that swung up. That could have been your top right there. So I'd watch the 3-day chart closely here for Bitcoin. And let me get rid of the squigglies for a second here. And this is Tether dominance, right? We want to make sure that, I might have called it DXY, I don't know, but if I did, I'm sorry. But this is Tether dominance. And we want to make sure that Tether dominance isn't continuing. It is, they're somewhat correlated, but it is not the DXY. It's Tether dominance. And this looks like, and then you can tell there's bearishness in the air when Tether dominance is somewhat green and Bitcoin dominance. But it does look like we could get, so I'm going to watch this 2-3 days closely. If you get this dump down and Bitcoin pumping up, somehow the crypto market got saved. Let's take a look at total. Total ain't that bad. Everyone's still freaking out. We're really still on weekly support right here. And there's still a good chance that we bounce and everyone's just freaking out. So total doesn't look too bad. If we start closing weekly candles down into this area, that's when, we'd have to say, okay, it's a little more bearish than we thought and we look for key levels. But right now we're still sitting on weekly support here on total. There's a chance we get this bounce while everyone's in crazy fear. I'm still buying BTC. I don't know what you're doing. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't think I'm saying you should be taking this financial advice. But when Bitcoin and the fear and greed index get into 10, 15, 20 area, I have to be buying BTC. I can't be buying the green candle, so I must be buying the red ones. Everyone, I love you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back. I go live every single day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Also do weekend morning live streams quickly. I can't wait to see you guys on my next live stream or content that I'm creating. If you came to the channel, then you're already doing the right thing. Crypto is life. Thank you so much. God bless.